بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I hope everybody is doing okay today. This beautiful weather, alhamdulillah. And I'm guessing that's probably why the hall is mostly empty for now. But I'm guessing people are still on the way because even my car was drifting all over the place as I was on my way to the Masjid, alhamdulillah. Either way, I think I do want to get started, and the others can just catch up later, inshallah. We'll start with the review questions, anyways. We were talking last week in the Aqeedah about the importance of knowing the names and the attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal and understanding them and learning them and all of these things. So, how does knowing the names and the attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal help stop someone from falling into sin? Yes. Exactly, exactly. And so to summarize what you just said, it increases a person's taqwa, right? And we previously defined, we said taqwa is mindfulness of Allah Azza wa Jal. You're conscious, you're aware of Allah Azza wa Jal. You're constantly remembering Allah Azza wa Jal in every single step. The more you remember Allah, the more taqwa this means you have. The more, and such a person who knows the attributes of Allah Azza, or sorry, the names and attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal, will, for example, he'll remember that Allah is Al Basir, He's watching me right now. Right now, Allah is Al Alim, He knows everything about me. Allah is Al Khabir, Allah knows what I'm planning, what I'm intending, what I'm thinking about. Allah knows, even though a person, by the way, he does not get taken into account for what they're thinking. So a person might technically be, for example, thinking haram things, okay, and they're not getting sinned for it. But usually, when a person starts to think about something, thinking leads to action. Thinking motivates. This is the think. It first starts with a thought, and the thought creates an urge. An urge then sometimes transforms into an action, right? So even thinking about something haram, even though it's not a sin, it might lead to a sin. But a person, even then, will be aware of his thinking. They're like, Allah Azza wa Jalla knows what I'm thinking right now. Allah is watching me. Allah is hearing me. And so a person becomes less likely to fall into such a sin and fall into disobeying Allah Azza wa Jal. How does knowing the names and the attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal increase a person's trust and certainty in Allah Azza wa Jal? There's not many people here right now, but try to work with me, No one wants to try? Yes, you can go again. Exactly. So you understand, again, through knowing Allah's names and attributes, you understand, for example, Allah is Ar-Razzaq. Allah is the one who provides everything for you. Allah is the one who's in control of the universe. Allah is the one who's managing everything, who's watching over everything, who's doing everything so perfectly. So now, why would anyone be worried, right, anymore in their life when they know, for example, I might be struggling in my, I'm struggling with money a little bit. Okay, why would I be stressed and worried when I know Allah is a Razzaq? And I believe in Allah, and I know Allah Azza wa Jal has written my provision for me, and whether I like it or not, Allah Azza wa Jal tells me in the Quran, I shall receive my rizq. So what's there to be worried about? Same thing when I'm feeling down or when I'm feeling in a tight situation. I understand that Allah Azza wa Jal is capable to do anything. Allah Azza wa Jal is Al-Jabbar, Allah Azza wa Jal is Al-Mudabbir, Allah Azza wa Jal is all of these, has all of these different names which indicate His mercy and that He has the perfect plan for everybody, and that He can always make a way out for anyone through even the most, the quote unquote, the most impossible of situations, right? So this is what we gain of the benefit of knowing Allah Azza wa Jal. And of course, knowing Allah Azza wa Jal's abilities and control makes a person certain that there is La ilaha illallah, right? That there is no God but Allah. Unlike all of these other paganistic religions, they tell you there's a God of love, there's a God of wealth, there's a God of luck, and there's a God of this and God of that, right? They're present, and I'm talking about this day. It's not like Quraysh. Yeah, Quraysh, yes, they had that, but I'm saying 2025, there are still some cultures that literally have different temples for different gods, and every god does something else. Like what is this? How does that even make any sense, right? So when we learn about Allah Azza wa Jalla's names and attributes, it gives us even more and stronger certainty that La ilaha illallah. And we discussed in a lot of details the hadith of وَاتَّقُوا النِّسَاء, right? That that Prophet Muhammad tells us, the dunya is sweet and green. Allah Azza wa Jalla shall place you in the dunya so He can see how you will do. So beware of the dunya, and then He says this phrase, and beware of women. And that probably, if you're the first, if when you read this hadith the first time, you're like, what? What did I do? Why do people have to be careful of me? Right? So what does it mean when the hadith says beware of women? Yes. There's some women. Exactly. So, to just rephrase what you just said, not this does not mean, by the way, that women are evil. Again, I'll make it very, very clear. Women are not evil creatures. Okay, a good woman has a lot of potential to do good. Some of the best people that have ever existed on in the space of this earth are women. There's a whole surah called Surah An-Nisa. There's a whole surah called Surah Maryam, right? There are ladies like Khadija radiallahu anha, Aisha radiallahu anha. These are some of the most greatest individuals. So don't think that this hadith, some people will look at this, or some maybe ignorant or some Islamophobes will look at this hadith and be like, oh, look, Islam oppresses women, or Islam doesn't like women. This is ridiculous. You need to understand the context of the hadith. Okay? What this is saying, and this is something, and I mentioned it in a lot of details last week, I don't need to repeat it again, but when, when a woman becomes evil and she shows off a lot of things that she should not be showing off, she has the potential to do a lot of damage, a lot and lots of corruption. And so this is why the Prophet Muhammad is warning us to beware of the fitna of the women. So not just for the men, but also for the women, beware of the fitna of the women. Meaning, beware that you don't become a cause of fitna. And for the men, beware that you don't fall into this fitna. So, of course, there are certain ways that we can protect ourselves. How can someone protect himself from all the trials and all the fitnas in the world? Sure, you can go again, I guess. I take a guess, you'll probably get it right. It's the answer for like 90% of the questions. You want to help him? Stick to the Quran and the Sunnah. Okay? You can never go wrong with that answer, ya akhi. So whatever, it's an answer to 90% of the questions I ask up here. Okay? Stick to the Quran and the Sunnah, and you shall be fine. And of course, when I say stick to the Quran and the Sunnah, I am saying stick to the teachings of how you can protect yourself. The Quran, for example, tells us you should lower your gaze, right? You should dress modestly. You should act and speak modestly. Watch what you say, and watch who you're talking to. Okay. So, and this is now, if we bring this in the context of opposite gender interactions, there are, as we mentioned, okay, there's a lot of boundaries. Okay. Now it's not so extreme that, like, some people, some Muslims, they take it to such an extreme that they're like, they find it also like it almost becomes haram to say even like a girl's name. Like, it's not that bad. Okay, it's not that serious. Okay, but it's also not so open that's like, oh, what's wrong with it? I'm a good person. I'm not gonna do haram. I'm just gonna talk to her. I'm just gonna sit with her. I'm just gonna hang out. We're just hanging out together. We're just friends. That's the famous phrase here. Right? Oh, we're just friends, right? So that's another extreme as well, which is also very, very bad. Both extremes are bad. You need to stick to what the Quran tells you, what the Quran and the Sunnah tells us about. So last week, actually, someone came to me after the class and he said, okay, well, I sometimes have to work with the opposite gender at school. I'm in a school project at school, or whatever. Okay, so what do I do? Like, does that mean I can't work with them? And the answer is no. This is not what the hadith is saying. Okay, so for example, you can work with them. Okay, but you only stick to the things that you need to talk about. So, for example, you're working in a project for your social studies class. Okay, you need to do a presentation, and you were randomly selected in the same group. Okay, you need to sometimes do a group chat through WhatsApp or through text messages. Okay, or sometimes you need to meet up in the school as a group together. That's okay. You can talk to each other about the project, but that's it. Only about the project. Okay, we're done talking about the project. Meeting is done. Okay, yalla, I'm leaving for the day. Okay. So you don't start opening up conversations. Oh, how you doing today? Oh, mashallah, nice weather. Oh, you look so good today, mashallah. You're, this and that. What are you gonna do for vacation? What are you gonna do over the weekend? No, 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 no. That cut all of that talk away. Okay. So understand the limits that the Quran and the Sunnah give you in regards to interacting with the opposite gender and in terms of not being a source of fitna as well. So for the ladies, this means dressing up modestly such that you don't become a cause of fitna. And for the boys, you don't chase after fitna as well, right? You protect yourself, you lower your gaze, be careful what you're looking at on your phones, on social media, in the streets. Be careful where you're going, okay? You can't go to a place that's full of fitna and then tell, oh, I'm just going to lower my gaze. Like, if left and right and up and down is fitna around you, what are you going to do? What are you going to lower? How are you going to lower your gaze? So don't put yourself in a position where you know yourself you're going to be falling into a fitna. Anyways, a person made ruku' during prayer and he only said Subhana Rabbi al Azim once instead of 3 times. Is his prayer valid? Why or why not? Yes, in the very back. So I heard it is valid, which is correct, but I didn't hear why. Okay, your answer is correct, but your reasoning is wrong. What's the reason? Yes, the sunnah, the sunnah. So the wajib, okay. So again, to clear out, the wajib, the obligation is that you say it once. Did this person say it once? He said it once. So therefore, he already did the obligation. The sunnah is to say it more than once. And of course, oftentimes Prophet Muhammad used to say it 3 times. There's another hadith mentions he used to say it 10 times. Subhana Rabbi al-Azim or Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. So as long as this person says it once, then he has fulfilled the obligation, but he did not follow the sunnah. Okay, but his prayer is valid. What is special about the time after the tashahhud and before the taslim? Yes? So that is a time of dua where a time where dua is accepted. So this time, after you say في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد, and before you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, you أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله. So I was just saying that take advantage of this time before the taslim and after you finish the tashahhud, as this is the time where dua is accepted. Why did Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and Abu Bakr Siddiq stay in Quba instead of entering Medina right away? What was yes, Adam? Akhi, don't raise your hand if you don't know the answer. Yes, in front. Umar bin Abi Talib? Ali bin Abi Talib. Yes, that's why. So they were waiting for Ali bin Abi Talib. Remember the story we mentioned that he was still back in Mecca. The story of he was hidden. He hid under the covers of Prophet, the bed of Prophet Muhammad, and so he had this task of returning the amanat, the trusted properties, to back to its owners before he performs his hijrah. Why did Prophet Muhammad choose to stay with Abu Ayyub al Ansari in his house? What was special about him? Yes. So he was the closest to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu. And the scholars interpret this in two ways. So he's both closest in terms of distance and he's closest in terms of even blood relation. So he was the closest, like he was like a fifth or sixth. He was a distant cousin, but he was the closest in terms of blood relation to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu. So over the past, and in fact, over this entire series of lectures, we've spoken in the Aqeedah a lot of details of believing in Allah Azza wa Jal. Right? We defined what is Aqeedah, we mentioned what is Tawheed, we broke down the different categories of Tawheed and all of these things. So now, all of this discussion that we had so far, from the beginning until now, was only one pillar of the six pillars of Iman. So I'll bring you guys to the first discussion that we began this entire series with, and these are the six pillars of Iman. And in order for a person to have Iman, these six pillars must exist. Who can remind me? So obviously, believing in Allah is the first one. We'll discuss that in a lot of details. What are the other six? What are the other five pillars? Who can remind me? All of us should have this like memorized, like 1 plus 1. Okay? Yeah. Jazakallah khairan. So believing in Allah. Okay. Iman billahi wal malaikati. So the angels and the books and the day of and the prophets and the day of judgment and in the qadr, the destiny of Allah, the good and the bad. So all of our discussion so far is only one pillar, and of course it's the most important pillar, obviously, because it's talking about believing in Allah Azza wa Jal. But now it is our time to jump into the second pillar of iman, and that is al imanu bil malaikah, to believe in the angels. Now we need to first, of course, as usual, start our discussion by defining what does the word al-malaika even mean. Now, obviously, it's angels. Everybody knows it's angels. But what does it actually mean if I open the Arabic dictionary? Al-malaika, okay, al-malaika comes from the word aluka. Aluka. Aluka is another word in Arabic for risala, which means message. So malaika, or the singular is the plural is malaika. When I say malaika, it means lots of angels. When I say one angel, I say malak. Malak. Malak does the verb of alaka. What does alaka mean? Delivers a message. So malaika, the word malaika, when you read it in the Quran or you hear it, it literally means message carriers. They have, someone has a message and they're carrying it to someone else. And obviously, in the context of our religion, the malaika are the angels. They are creation of Allah Azza wa Jal. They are called malaika because they relay messages from Allah Azza wa Jal to anyone that Allah Azza wa Jal orders to send a message to, either down to the prophets, like Prophet Muhammad through Jibreel alayhi salam, or sometimes even just through inspiring different people through different kind of methods. Okay? So these are what we call al-malaikah. And of course, what do we know? We don't know overall that much about the malaika, except for, of course, what the Quran and the Sunnah have told us about al-malaika, which is honestly not that much. We simply know they are another creation of Allah Azza wa Jal. And we don't see them, obviously. Okay, they are probably around you as you speak, but we do not see them. They can see you. Okay, and they are made of light. They are made of nur. They are creatures made of light. We are made of clay, of mud. The jinn are made out of fire. the angels are made out of light, out of nur, and they are, of course, servants of Allah Azza wa Jal, just like us, except they are different than us in a way. Allah Azza wa Jal gave us, mankind, human beings, the freedom of choice. Meaning, right now, nobody here is forced to do anything. You want to believe in Allah? You have the choice to believe in Allah. You want to disobey Allah? You can disobey Allah. A lot of people out there right now are disobeying Allah. A lot of people out there disbelieve in Allah. A lot of people out there insult the religion. And this is Allah's, has granted them this freedom for now, of course, for now. It's a test, it's a temporary test, and of course, there is going to be a questioning at the day of judgment. The angels are also servants of Allah Azza wa Jal, but they do not have the freedom of choice like you do. And they have been created in their nature that they can never ever disobey Allah Azza wa Jal. And they cannot ever sin. Okay? And I know sometimes you might see it in the cartoons or in the anime or I don't know, whatever, that oh, there's a fallen angel, right? An angel that has become corrupt, and this is of course completely false. This is only like in the movies and in the cartoons and what they show you. Okay? Angels are very noble creatures. They're honorable creatures. And Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم. They do not disobey Allah in anything that He commands them to do. وَيَفْعَلُونَ مَا يُؤْمَرُونَ. And they fulfill everything that Allah Azza wa Jalla tells them to do. And every angel that is created typically has a task that he has to do. And that he literally spends eternity just fulfilling this one task. And we're going to talk about some of these later. Angels also, in terms of their numbers, we of course have no idea how many there are. But we know that there are probably a ton, like billions, trillions, zillions, nobody knows. We do know from a hadith, okay, right, boys in the front? We do know from a hadith that every day, so that we mentioned this actually in the Seerah and the Mi'raj, you guys remember, that in the seventh heaven, there is a structure that is identical to the Kaaba but up in the heavens. Such that if that structure is called Al Baytul Ma'mur. We mentioned this in the Seerah and the Mi'raj, right? I'm seeing like blank looks on your faces. I'm like pretty sure we covered this before. Al Baytul Ma'mur is a structure just like the Kaaba. You know the Kaaba in Mecca? There's another Kaaba up there. It's not called Kaaba, it's called Al Baytul Ma'mur. Such that if the Baytul Ma'mur fell down on this earth, it would fall right on top of the Kaaba. Okay? But it's up in the seventh heaven. And just like here in Mecca, in the Kaaba, at the Kaaba, there are millions of people coming to do tawaf. Up there in the seventh heaven, there are no people. There are angels that are doing tawaf around the structure of Al Baytul Ma'mur. Now, why am I mentioning this? Because the hadith tells us that every day, 70,000 new angels make tawaf around the Baytul Ma'mur. And then they leave never to return again. Meaning, if you realistically want to calculate how many angels exist in existence, go count the days from the creation of the angels until the day of judgment and multiply that by 70,000 and you will get the number of the angels. So you can go crazy with your imagination of how many angels Allah Azza wa Jal has created. So there are many, many angels. This is the point here. And also, angels, I know this is the associated stereotypical image that they have like white wings and a halo and they're like cute and this and that. Okay, this is again a Western representation. Say if I catch you talking one more time, you're kicked out of the class. This is of course a Western representation of what an angel looks like, but of course in reality nobody here has seen an angel. Okay? Nobody here has seen an angel. So angels, they cannot be compared to human beings in a sense that we have male and female. Angels, you cannot say that this is a male or a female angel. Okay, they're genderless. You can say you cannot assign a gender to an angel. Okay, you can't also compare them in the sense that they eat or drink or do the same thing that we need to do. We need to eat food to survive. We need to drink water. We need to use the washroom. We need to sleep. We need to, sometimes we need to go and have fun. Really, many things that we do. The angels don't need to do them. So the angels, they don't eat, they don't drink, they don't get tired actually even. So they're always, constantly, every second of their life without a break, they are worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal. And of course, only Allah Azza wa Jal knows their number. And also, they don't reproduce either. So they don't. There is no mama angel, papa angel. Okay. So angels cannot be compared to the human beings in that sense. Now, why do we talk about believing in the angels? Very simple. Because we mentioned it is part of the pillars of Iman. And since it is a pillar of Iman, if the pillar does not exist, then the Iman is not complete. So a person cannot be a believer if they say, I do not believe in the angels. Why? Because the Quran is full of verses telling you that they are angels. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he received the Quran through angel Jibreel. There are tons of hadith and the Quran telling us that there are angels. So now someone ignorant who's going to come and tell you, oh, I believe in the Quran, I believe in Allah, but I don't believe there are angels because I didn't see one. This person, we tell him like you're now disbelieving in the Quran. So now you're telling us the Quran is not true now when the Quran itself is telling us that there are angels. So therefore, believing in the angels is a fundamental belief that we have as believers in Allah Azza wa Jal. Now, what does it really mean to actually believe in the angels? And of course, some of the verses in the Quran include some of the famous verses that we know. For example, آمن الرسول, right? The last verses of Surah Al-Baqarah. آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون. كل آمن, all of them, the messengers and the believers. آمن بالله وملائكته. So the angels here are mentioned. You need to believe in the angels. In another verse in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah Azza wa Jalla says, من كان عدوا لله وملائكته ورسله وجبريل وميكال فإن الله عدو للكافرين. Whoever disbelieves in Allah Azza wa Jal and in the angels and in the prophets and in Jibreel, he mentions now some angels as well, in Jibreel and Mikal or Mikael, then this person, then Allah Azza wa Jal is an enemy to this kind of person. So what does it mean to believe in the angels? First of all, we believe in their existence. When I say I believe in the angels, it means you believe in these 4 points. It means, number one, you believe in the existence of the angels. And you fully have this resolve in your heart that I know angels exist. I know angels are probably around me right now. There's angels in the masjid. Wherever the Quran is being recited, there are angels around it as well. Whenever good deeds are being done, angels are around them as well. So I believe that they exist, even though I have never seen or heard one in my life. And in most likelihood, none of us are ever going to see or hear one until the moment of your death. Also, it means to believe in all of the angels without any exceptions. Those of them which we know about, like every Muslim probably knows about the angel Jibreel, right? But also there are tons of angels out there. I just told you there are, unimaginable number of angels out there. Even though we've never seen them, we don't even know their names, we don't even know what they're responsible of doing and what they do, we still believe in their existence, and we know that they are there. We also believe in whatever attributes we know about the angels. Okay? So there are certain sifat, certain attributes of the angels that obviously we haven't seen one, but Allah Azza wa Jal tells us about, for example, in the Quran. Or the Prophet Muhammad tells us about in the Sunnah, and through his Hadith. So, for example, that they are made out of light. This is an attribute of the angels. Angels, they do have wings. Okay, don't think of the image of the wings and the halo that you see in the cartoons, but they do have wings. Allah Azza wa Jalla mentions this in the Quran. That Allah Azza wa Jalla has created messengers, angels, messenger angels that have wings. This is in the Quran. So angels, they do have wings, for example. And we also have description of some of the angels, more specifically Jibreel alayhi salam. We mentioned in the revelation, in the first revelation in Ghar Hira, right? Prophet Muhammad became very frightened. Why? Because he told us, I saw this massive creature. I saw, and then he of course realized that this was, later on he learns that this was Jibreel alayhi salam. But this was the original form of Jibreel alayhi salam. And he described it to us and he said it was as wide as the horizon. Like very, very big. Meaning if you were to look up in the sky, you don't even see the sky. You just see Jibreel alayhi salam from how massive he is. So this is the original form of Jibreel. We also know that Jibreel, we mentioned the angels have wings, and depending on depending on the ranking on the angel, the numbers of wings are actually determined as well. So the more wings they have, the more honorable, the more higher in ranks they are. It's kind of like in the army here, right? You have like the one arrow, and then you have the three arrows, and you have the stars, and all of these weird military symbols, right? It's kind of in a sense the same way for the angels as well, except their ranking is determined by the number of their wings. So the Quran tells us that some angels have two wings, 3 wings, or 4 wings. Then you have angel Jibreel has 600 wings. And of course, we know that Jibreel alayhi salam is the leader of the angels. And we also know, for example, that angels can have several different forms. And again, once again, Jibreel is the prime example over here. Only 2 times in the Seerah he showed up with his full massive form. But the majority of the time, he would actually sometimes come in the form of a human being, and he would talk to the Sahaba. Sometimes would see a human being. They didn't know who that human being is, and then Prophet ﷺ told them that was Jibreel. And or sometimes he would shape shift into the shape of a Sahabi that the Sahaba knew. And sometimes the Sahaba would ask Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, for example, why was that Sahabi talking to you right now? Like that's unusual. We don't usually see you talking with him. And he said that was not actually him. That was Jibreel alayhi salam disguised basically as this Sahabi. So, and the attributes go on and on. But the point here is, as Muslims and as part of believing in the angels, we believe in all of the attributes that the Quran and the Sunnah tell us about the angels. Okay. What else? We also, as part of believing in the angels, we believe in whatever actions that the angels do, that the Quran tells us about. So, for example, Allah Azza wa Jalla tells us in the Quran, يُسَبِّحُونَ اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ لَا يَفْتُرُونَ. They praise Allah Azza wa Jalla morning and night without taking any rest, without without getting tired ever. So every single moment there is an angel out there, probably for the rest of their lives, they're making sujood for Allah Azza wa Jalla. They're doing ruku' for Allah Azza wa Jalla. They're just praising Allah Azza wa Jalla. That's their entire purpose of creation, from the moment of the creation until forever, basically. And their entire purpose is just to do these kind of tasabih. And someone like us with our limited mindset, we're like, how is that even possible? Don't they get bored? Don't they get tired? How can a person possibly do adhkar and praise Allah Azza wa Jal without ever getting tired? Well, I don't understand how, and I don't need to understand how. This is my limited capacity, but I believe in it. Why? Because Allah Azza wa Jal told me this in the Quran, and so therefore I believe in all of these actions that the angels do. So a believer in the angels is someone who believes in the existence of the angels, in all of the angels, in the attributes of the angels, and in the actions and the deeds of the angels. Now, what are some of the angels that we actually know about? So some examples of angels that we are told about in the Quran and the Sunnah. Obviously, everybody knows the angel Jibreel alayhi salam. And his task, as I mentioned, every angel he's created for a purpose. They have a task that they have to fulfill. So Jibreel alayhi salam, he had this task that he was the keeper of the secrets. That's what his title was, right? The keeper of the secrets. He would be the one who is entrusted with the revelation. And of course, this was the most noble task. He would be responsible to reveal whatever Allah Azza wa Jalla wants to be revealed between him and his prophets. And so, for example, this is how the Quran got revealed. Jibreel alayhi salam would come down to Prophet Muhammad, and through one way or another, there's several ways in which the Quran got revealed, but he would reveal that Quran to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this was the task that Jibreel alayhi salam was entrusted with. Another one of the angels that we know about is also mentioned in the Quran, Mikael, right? In Surah Al-Baqarah, it says وَجِبْرِيلَ وَمِيكَالَ. In another qira'ah, it actually calls it Mikael, right? So Mikael, whether you call him Mikael or Mikael, same thing, okay? But there is an angel called Mikael. And his responsibility is also one of the noble angels. He is responsible for sending down the rain by the command of Allah Azza wa Jal. So Allah Azza wa Jal commands him to bring forth the wind, which comes to form the clouds and bring down the rain and bring out the vegetation. So this is angel Mikael alayhi salam. Also in a hadith we learn of the angel who is entrusted with blowing the trumpet to signal the beginning of the day of judgment. And of course, this is mentioned several times in the Quran that there is a trumpet that will be blown twice. Okay, so there's the first blow, and then everybody who hears this trumpet shall pass away. And then another trumpet shall be blown, and everybody shall be resurrected. All of humanity, from Adam till the last human being alive, in a different, you can say, different dimension. This is the land of resurrection for the beginning of the day of judgment. So who blows this trumpet? This is the angel Israfil. So his name is Israfil, and as we speak right now, he actually has his mouth next to the trumpet, and his eyes are looking at the throne of Allah Azza wa Jalla, and he's waiting for the signal. We learn this in the Hadith, which tells you how close the day of judgment is. Like, can you imagine? He literally has that right now. He has his mouth on the trumpet, and he's just looking up. He's just waiting for the green light so he can actually go and blow the trumpet. So we should be, this is a reminder for us that the day of judgment is much, much closer than we think. We also know that his name is also mentioned in the Quran, Malik. The angel Malik, and we get a little bit more details about him in the Isra and the Mi'raj. He is the gatekeeper of Jahannam. Now, what is his role as a gatekeeper? We don't really know. Okay, but he is the gatekeeper of Jahannam. That's all we know about him. He's Khazin Jahannam. He's the gatekeeper of Jannah. So his name is Malik. And similarly, Jannah also has a Malik. According to the majority of scholars, his name is Ridwan. Ridwan. Okay? Ridwan is the gatekeeper of Jannah. And again, what is the role as a gatekeeper? We don't really know. And we don't, frankly, really care either. But we believe in their existence. And we, for example, also believe in the existence of the two angels that shall come to a person in their grave. So when a person passes away, after they die and after they bury him, now this person, he's not done yet. He has some questions to answer. And there will be two scary looking angels that shall come to him, and their names are Munkar and Nakir. Munkar and Nakir. And every person shall be asked these three questions. Or you can say almost every person shall be asked these three questions. Who is your Lord? What is your religion? And who is the man that was sent to you to teach you basically religion? And at that point in time, it's your iman that speaks up. It's not your tongue. Anybody can go in right now and answer. If I ask anybody these three questions, they can answer. But the question is, will you be able to answer these two angels these three questions at that moment in time in your grave? Depends on your level of iman. But the point here is that these two angels are there, and they are responsible for questioning people in the grave. So I do have to pause here. We'll mention the rest of the points, inshallah, after the salah, because the salah is in like 1 more minute, inshallah. So we'll pause, we'll go upstairs, pray, then we'll come back downstairs, inshallah. Let's continue where we left off, inshallah. So we were just talking about some different angels that we know about, which are mentioned in the Quran and in the Quran and in the Sunnah. So we mentioned a bunch of them. There is also, as we know, the angel of death. Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, قُلْ يَتَوَفَّاكُمْ مَلَكُ الْمَوْتِ الَّذِي وُكِّلَ بِكُمْ. Every single one of you, every single human being on earth has an angel of death. The only reason he was created is so that he can take your soul. That's the only reason that angel was created. So that when your time comes, he will come down to you and he shall take out your soul. Now, by the way, when speaking about the angel of death, there is a famous name that is known amongst the Muslims to the angel of death, which is actually not proven anywhere in the Quran and the Sunnah, and they call him Israel. Some of you have maybe heard this name before, Israel. Okay, this name is not coming from the Quran or the Sunnah, so we have no proof that this is, and this is most likely coming from the previous books, like a Torah and from the Jewish traditions and whatnot. So we do not take it as a trusted source. So Israel is not a name that we typically, count as one of the names of the angels, but we do know that there is an angel of death for sure. Okay, and even they are referenced in the Quran. In fact, in a surah that probably all of you guys or many of you guys know, you guys don't know that it's talking about them. وَالنَّازِعَاتِ غَرْقًا وَالنَّاشِطَاتِ نَشْطًا. What is النَّازِعَات? What is النَّاشِطَات? These are angels. And nazi'at are the angels of punishment that shall take and rip the soul of the disbeliever. So for the disbelievers, the angel of death shall come to them in a scary looking form, and he shall rip off their soul in a very painful method, in a painful manner. And as for the good believers, they will receive a nashitat. Who are the nashitat? The angels of mercy, who shall come and take their souls, but it's so gentle and merciful, and you won't even feel anything at all. No pain whatsoever. Anyways, these are all different references to the angels of death. And also, we do learn, for example, that there are angels that write our deeds, right? For example, Allah says in the Quran, "ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد." Any word that is uttered from your mouth, from your tongue, there are two angels that are writing it down. There's one angel that is responsible for writing down your good deeds, another angel responsible for writing down your bad deeds. So, of course, there are many, many more angels. This is just this is not a complete list. This is just some of the names that we know, along some of the tasks which we know about the angels. We'll take some questions in a second. Now, how does believing in the angels benefit me as a Muslim? Besides the point that I am completing my faith, of course, we mentioned a person cannot be a believer unless they believe in the angels. So what are some of the outcomes? Well, when now you just learned about some of the different angels and some of the different things that they do. For example, you learned that there is an angel that sends the winds and sends forth the rain by the command of Allah Azza wa Jal, brings out the vegetation. There are angels that are sent down to protect you. I know this. There's a lot of cartoons about this thing called the guardian angel, and there's an angel that you don't see and he's guarding you. This is of course complete like Western cartoon, okay, anime, whatever. Okay, we don't think of it this way. But Allah Azza wa Jal does say, for example, in the Quran, له معقبات من بين يديه ومن خلفه يحفظونه من أمر الله. That there are literally angels that have rotations. Rotations like they have a morning shift and a night shift. And the morning shift guys, they go at night, they leave at night, and the night shift guys come in. And then the night shift angels in the morning, they leave, and the morning shift guys come in. And every time they come back and they present your deeds to Allah Azza wa Jal. This is mentioned to us in a hadith, that the two times in a day in which the deeds are raised are during Fajr and during Asr time. Okay? During Fajr and during Asr time. And so the night shift ends at Fajr prayer. So the angels, they would go up to Allah Azza wa Jal. And Allah Azza wa Jal would ask your angels, what did you leave them? What were they doing when you left them? And so a person who prays their Fajr prayer, especially they pray it in the Masjid, or they pray it in Jama'ah at home, or if you're just praying it on time, the angels will say, we left them and they were praying Fajr prayer. And the same thing happens again at Asr time. The Asr time, khalas, the morning shift is now over. So these guys now go up and the night shift guys come down. And Allah Azza wa Jalla asks the morning shift angels, what did you guys leave them doing? And if a person prays their Asr prayer on time, in the Jama'ah, in the Masjid, wherever, then they will also say, we left them and they were praying. So a person, this of course, all of these different attributes and these tasks that the angel do make us now more conscious that there are not just Allah Azza wa Jalla is watching us, there are also angels that are writing down everything that you do. And these angels shall stick with you for the rest of your life. And in fact, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he says in a hadith that you have with you creatures, meaning these angels who are writing down your deeds, they will never leave you alone except basically when you are like in like the washroom or you're when you're in the washroom. Okay? They don't like enter the washroom with you, but they, subhanAllah, they still somehow know what you are doing, and so they record your deeds down. Okay? But what Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is trying to say in this hadith is honestly something that we should also reflect upon. And he says, have some shyness before your own angels. Be shy in front of your own angels. Now, of course, you need to be shy of Allah Azza wa Jal. You don't want to sin when Allah Azza wa Jal is watching you. But it's now not only Allah watching you, there are also angels that are watching you. And these are angels because this is the task that Allah Azza wa Jal told them to do, and they cannot disobey Allah. They are forced to stay and to either watch you do your good deeds, or they have been forced to watch you do your sins. So don't let these angels dislike you, because they will come again on the day of judgment. They will come. You think they're just here for just to chill? They will be called on the day of judgment, and everything that they wrote down will be presented to you. Look, this is a book of all of your deeds, all of your good deeds and all of your bad deeds. So be generous. This is what Prophet ﷺ is saying. Be generous towards these angels. Don't make these angels hate you. So this is one of the benefits and one of the primary benefits in believing in the angels. Now you become more conscious of yourself, of your deeds. It causes you to become more steadfast. That not only Allah is now watching you and He knows and He's watching and hearing you, there are angels literally scribbling down every single thing that you are doing in your life, whether it is a good deed or whether that is a bad deed. Also, another benefit, we get a sense of gratefulness. You know, angels, yes, they are noble and honorable creatures, but Alhamdulillah that I have been created a human being. At least I have a freedom of choice and I can do many things that I want while still pleasing Allah Azza wa Jal. Now, of course, this comes with, the angels, they don't have a day of judgment where they get questioned for their deeds, of course. I'm going to get questioned for my deeds, but at least I have a little bit of freedom in terms of doing my good deeds, and nobody is forcing me to do anything. That's first and foremost. And plus, Allah Azza wa Jal, one of His ways of that He manages the universe is that of course he is not in need of angels. Allah can manage it all by Himself, but He sent down these angels so it makes life easy for you. You don't have to worry about the rain. You don't have to worry about writing anything, recording anything, taking the soul. You don't have to worry about anything at all. Okay? The angels just have to do all the tough things. They manage everything in the universe, all the tasks that we know about and that we don't know about, and everything else. And for me, I just simply get to enjoy this world and live in this world as I am. Okay? It's in the same way. Boys in the middle, if you're here to talk and chit chat, please go upstairs immediately. I will not tolerate this. Understand? Okay. So this gives us a sense of gratefulness to Allah Azza wa Jal, that He has sent down these creatures that manage everything for me, such that I can just go and live in this world. I can breathe the air, I can enjoy the rain, I can eat, I can go to superstore and buy the harvest and the apples and the fruits and the vegetables and whatnot. I have everything that I need, and I don't know that behind the scenes, in the world of the unseen, that I don't see the angels. There's a lot of angels flying here, there, going up, going down, doing all sorts of different jobs just to make our life, bearable for us. So this is something that we thank Allah Azza wa Jal about as well. So this is in a nutshell the belief of the angels, and we're not going to take more than one lecture about the belief of the angels. We're going to talk next week, inshallah, about the believing in the books of Allah Azza wa Jal. We'll discuss that next week, inshallah. But are there any questions about angels or believing in the angels in general? Serious question or joking around? If it's a joking around, you're going to get kicked out. Okay, go.
Some people get mixed up by saying angels are jinns and jinns are angels. What do you do that?
Angels are not jinns, and jinns are not angels. Humans are not animals. Animals are not humans.
Not Muslims.
Well, whatever. They can believe whatever they want. Okay, but for our understanding, I'm telling you, jinn are not the same as angels, and angels are not the same as jinn. Just the same way that humans are not animals, right? And animals are also not humans. They're completely different creations. Jinn are actually just like us. They also have the freedom of choice, and they can choose to obey and disobey, and they will have a day of judgment where they will be, well, not a day of judgment, it's the same day of judgment, but they will also be questioned for their deeds. Angels, they're not getting questioned because they never ever disobey Allah Azza wa Jalla. It's not possible for them to disobey Allah Azza wa Jalla. Any questions about the angels? Any more questions before I move on? Good? Okay, moving on. I shared with you this hadith last week عن عبد الله بن عمر رضي الله عنه قال أخذ رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بمنكبي فقال. So Abdullah bin Umar is narrating the hadith. He says that one day Prophet Muhammad he took me by the shoulder. And Abdullah bin Umar was a young boy at this stage, and he told him, "Kun fi dunya ka'annaka gharibun aw 'abiru sabil." Be in this world as if you are a stranger or a wayfarer. A wayfarer is like someone who's just passing by. Okay, like it's just a gas station stop. They're quickly passing by and then they're traveling away again. And وكان ابن عمر يقول, so Ibn Umar, Abdullah bin Umar also used to say, so this is not the words of Prophet Muhammad, this is the word of the Sahabi, right? And he says, إذا أمسيت فلا تنتظر الصباح وإذا أصبحت فلا تنتظر المساء. When in the evening, don't expect to see the morning. And in the morning, don't expect to see the evening. What does that mean? We're going to explain that in a second. وخذ من صحتك لمرضك ومن حياتك لموتك. And take something from your health to serve you in times of illness, and something in your life to serve you for the time of your death. So before I go and explain what all of this is talking about, maybe someone can go ahead and share their. Yeah, you want to go ahead? Mm-hmm. 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 Allahumma barik, mashallah. You explained it even better than I did. Allahumma barik. Okay, let's elaborate on some of the points. Mashallah, you mentioned a lot of things. We're gonna like break them down and talk about them one by one. So let's start with the wordings of the hadith. The Prophet ﷺ is telling all of us, well, he's telling Abdullah bin Umar, but he's telling all of us, live in this world as if you are a stranger or as if you are a wayfarer. Now, what is a stranger and what is a wayfarer? So, a stranger, of course, your parents teach you as a kid, hey, don't open your doors to strangers, right? How do you identify a stranger? A person that you've probably never seen, you don't recognize, you don't, you probably always come to the masjid and then like there's just this guy that you've never seen before, and like, I don't, it's not a familiar face, right? So that's how we identify usually a stranger, right? So Prophet ﷺ is actually telling us, you be a stranger. You be the one who is a stranger. And of course, strangers, typically, they don't know many people around. Okay? People don't know them. They are not attached to the people. Okay? So, and let's be honest, okay? When we hear an announcement that someone in the community has passed away, for example, if you know that person, if you've like talked to them and they may be your friend or maybe your father's friend or something, now you feel like, oh, whoa, like that person passed away. Oh my God, subhanallah, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. You start making dua and this and whatnot, right? And then you might hear an announcement of another person, never heard of him before, never heard of his family before, don't know anything about him. Yeah, of course you'll make dua for him, but it's not going to affect you as much. Why? Because you're not attached to that person. Whether they're alive, whether they're dead, really, honestly, it doesn't really matter to you that much, because to you, that person is a stranger. Okay? And because this person is a stranger and you've never dealt with them before, then you don't have any problems with them. You don't have any disputes with them. You don't have any hate, or you don't have any envy. You don't have any jealousy towards them. Why? Because you don't know anything about them. Like that stranger that comes into the masjid, because he's a stranger, you don't know anything about him, he might in fact be a multi-billionaire. You might have just prayed Asr next to a multi-billionaire and you didn't even know it. But that person was a stranger, so you don't know anything about it. And because you don't know about him, you don't feel any envy. Oh, I wish I had his money. or you feel jealous about him, towards him. Okay? So this is what we call a stranger. So we should also be as strangers in this world. Now, to clarify what this is saying, this is not telling you, oh, okay, khalas, this is be a stranger, meaning don't have any friends, don't connect to anybody in the community, don't have any family, don't get to know anybody. This is not the correct understanding of the hadith. Being a stranger, and of course we got to look at the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he had a family, he had several wives, he had many friends, he had many companions, right? So how come he's now telling the people to be a stranger? Well, very simple. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had all of these people around him for the sake of pleasing Allah Azza wa Jalla. That's the difference. So yes, he is the Prophet of Allah Azza wa Jal, but he got to know some Sahaba like Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Umar ibn Khattab, Uthman ibn Affan, radiallahu anhum, right? Why did he get to know them? They all played a role in his life to bring victory to Islam. So his end goal is to help to get to know these people so that we can bring Islam to its victory and its honor. Now, did he have fun with them? Absolutely he did. Did he like them? Absolutely he did. They were good friends of his. They had good times, they had bad times. Okay? But the ultimate goal was what? That we want to please Allah Azza wa Jalla. The same thing with the wives of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was a chance for them to support him. Khadija radiallahu anha, for example, we saw in the Seerah, she supported him in the most difficult of times. Aisha radiallahu anha, she was a support to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he was being rejected, when he was being fought, when he was being mocked and being made fun of, right? So all of the wives of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they were a support for him, and he was also in return also a support for them. But the ultimate purpose is what? That we please Allah Azza wa Jal. Okay? The point here that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, be a stranger, as in don't get attached to people too much. And this is wallahi something that you need to implement in your lives. Okay? I know a lot of you guys, you have certain best friends, certain besties, certain homies, certain whatever, okay? Gaming buddies, whatever, okay? You can have these kind of people, but there is a certain distance that you have to leave between you. That you cannot let them enter too close. Why? Otherwise the heart will get attached to them. And I mentioned before, it's mentioned in the Quran, the heart, a person can only have one heart in his body. Meaning the heart can only attach to one and only one thing in this world. If this heart is attached to an individual, to a person, then this heart is not attached to Allah Azza wa Jal. And this heart will find it difficult and will want to stay in this world and is not looking forward to death or to meeting Allah Azza wa Jal. Okay? So this is what he means when he says, be in this world as a stranger. Also be in this world like a wayfarer. Okay? What is a wayfarer? I mentioned someone who's just passing by on the road. Okay? He doesn't like have a family. Someone is, for example, you're on a road trip. Okay? And I don't know, you're doing a road trip with your family to Vancouver or something from Calgary, and you make a stop by Kelowna or something. Your family booked one night in Kelowna, and you're just gonna sleep the night, and then you're gonna continue with your road. Right now, you are a wayfarer in Kelowna. You don't know anybody. You don't have no attachments. Whatever problems they're having, forest fires, oh, so sad, tears in my face, but okay, I'm just gonna continue my way and continue in my road. No attachments to the place, no attachments to the people. You don't even have your own house in the place that you are staying in, right? So this is a wayfarer, okay? So what does it mean? What is the message here when Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is telling us to be in this world like a wayfarer? So the stranger, don't get attached to people. Wayfarer, don't get attached to the properties that you have. Don't get attached to the city, to the location that you have. Don't get attached to your house. Don't get attached to the materialistic wealth and all of the money that you see people have. SubhanAllah, nowadays we open social media. Okay, boys in the middle, please leave the room. Please leave the room. Khalas, please leave the room. Your whispering is louder than my own voice. Please, someone leave. Someone has to leave. You two in the middle. You two in the middle. Yes, you. Behind Adam. Yes, go. Yalla. Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah khairan for attending. Next time be quiet. Jazakallah khair. So, be in this world like a wait, first, subhanAllah, I just cut off my train of thought. Okay. What's I saying? Be in this world like a traveler. Yes, I was saying don't get attached yourself to the materialistic wealth. So think about it this way. This is a very simple example, and inshallah, this will get the point across. Think of when you go on vacation somewhere. Okay, let's say you. Okay, Shafi, please go sit next to your dad in the back. Go right now, please. Go, please. Thank you. And safe. This is your final warning. Final warning. You understand? Final warning. Okay. So, as I was saying, think of when you went on vacation somewhere and you booked a hotel. Let's say you went into your hotel room and you found that the TV remote doesn't work. Are you going to get worked up about it now? I heard someone whisper yes. Well, typically no, because okay, if I know that I'm only going to stay 1 or 2 nights in the hotel, are you going to get worked up about it? Well, like, whatever, man. Okay, it sucks. My TV is broken, or my remote doesn't work, or oh, the outlet on the wall. Sometimes you put a charger inside one of the wall outlets, and the charger doesn't work, and you're like, oh, it's a broken outlet, and you're like, it is what it is. You know what? Because I'm only staying for 2 days. Okay, something breaks inside the hotel room. Okay, the chair broke, or you dropped a vase and it broke, or something. You're like not too hung up about it. You're not too hung up about it because it's whatever. Okay, it's not. I'm only staying here for a couple of days and then I'm moving across. Yes, the view outside the window is so beautiful and nice, and the mountains and the scenery, but you're not gonna like cry when you're about to check out of your room, right? You're like, oh, I'm gonna miss this. It was a nice view for when it lasted, but oh well, vacation is over. I guess we're moving on to the next place now, right? This is typically our attitude when it comes to our hotel rooms. Similarly, when you're going to the hotel and you're thinking, oh, what kind of breakfast are you going to have in the hotel? Are they going to have one of those nice open buffet breakfasts where I can just eat everything? Or is it just going to be a depressing meal of just cereal and milk because there's nothing else for me to eat, right? So you don't know. But one way or the other, you're like, okay, I'll just be patient, whatever. It's just a couple days in this inn and then I'm going to move on. This is the attitude that you should be having in your own lives as well. You're not attached to anything. You're not attached to anyone because you realize that this is just like a waiting room. This entire life, the 60, 70, 80 years that you're going to live in your life, this is just a quick waiting room, like just a temporary. You're just sleeping at a hotel for 1 or 2 days, and then you're moving on. This is the reality of this world. So many people are deluded by it. And you see people who are so absorbed in this world, and their entire focus in their life is that we want to obtain money. We want to become the richest people ever. And you start opening social media and you scroll over and you start reading people like multi-billionaires, multi-trillionaires, how many zeros are next to their bank accounts, how many Ferraris that they own, how many private jets that they own. Oh my God, did you see this billionaire owns this entire building? Oh, this Saudi prince, he has like 10 gold Ferraris and he owns a whole mansion for himself. It's like a hotel room. How long is this going to last for? And in fact, ask yourself, do you think these rich people around you in the world right now, do you think that there weren't rich people in the past either? 200 years ago, do you think that they were not filthy rich people, multi-billionaires, multi-trillionaires? They existed as well. There were also, kings and royal individuals, and they had these palaces and they had these wealth. Okay, maybe they didn't have the same technology as we did, but they also had the same amount of wealth. They had, so much wealth, so many treasures, so many jewelry, so many this, so many that. Where are they now? All of them are under the ground. Whether they are rich, whether they are poor, every single one of them ended up in the same place. And guess what? They thought they were big shots when they were alive because we are so powerful, we are so famous, and we are so rich. Not a single one of their names is known today. And this is a fact. Many of you guys don't even know the names of your great-grandparents. And if you know them, then you definitely don't know your great-great-great-grandparents. Okay? right? This is your own ancestors, your own family. You don't even remember them. That's gonna be you as well, by the way. You think right now you're the main character in your life. You think you're the big shot. You think you're everything and everything is you, and you're gonna work so hard and everything. Guess what? 100 years from now, nobody's gonna know you. Okay? Unless, of course, you did a big impact in this world and Allah Azza wa Jal put barakah in your work and you were working sincerely. Someone like, for example, Imam al Bukhari, over 1,000 years passed away, yet every single Muslim knows the name Al Imam Bukhari, for example, or the people like the Sahaba or whatnot, right? So some people, Allah Azza wa Jal, there are exceptions, and Allah Azza wa Jal gives them, it's an exception, right? And gives them the barakah. But the reality is that none of this right now will last. Whether you are living in a small one-bedroom apartment or whether you're living in a 3-floor villa, whether you have 5 cars or whether you have to Uber yourself here to the masjid, none of this is going to last. So don't delude yourself. Don't attach yourself to anything. Because whether you like it or not, one day you're going to meet the angel of death. It happened to the people before you. Not a single person, mashallah. The angel of death has a perfect KDA. He's never missed a single person. Every single person who's met the angel of death has died. Nobody was able to escape him. Nobody was able to run away from him. Nobody was able to tell the angel that, oh, just give me 5 more minutes. Let me just give me a few more minutes in this world. Nobody survived. Do you think you're going to be any different? So you better be prepared. And you better start working now. And how do you help yourself? Don't attach yourself to this world. And in fact, I spoke earlier about angels and an-nazi'at and an-nashitat, the angels of punishment that shall rip out the soul, and the angels of mercy. The hadith, I'll elaborate a little bit on this hadith. And honestly, I don't mean to scare you when I talk about these things. It's just a fact. This is what the Prophet ﷺ is telling us. The angel of punishment will go to the soul of the disbeliever and will order the soul to come out of the body so he can take it. The soul will not want to come out. So he will have to rip that soul out. Why? Why does he have to rip it out? Because it's so attached to this world. It has something that's so stuck, and it's like hugging the world so much. I don't want to go. I don't want to leave this world. I love this world so much. Think of like a plant, and it's deep. Its roots are deep inside, and you're trying to like hold it from top, and you're trying to rip it. But it's so attached with its roots deep rooted into this earth. And so we better be careful how your soul is. A person who's very attached to this world, he's going to have a painful time with the angel of death. A person who is not attached to this world, and okay, like this doesn't mean that you can't like anyone or you can't like anything. That's fine to enjoy whatever Allah Azza wa Jalla has blessed you in this world, but you're not attached to it. You understand that one day this is all going to go. You understand that one day, khalas, I'm going to move on. So this person who lives with this understanding and understands that I'm living so that I can meet Allah Azza wa Jalla and I can succeed and enter Jannah, this soul is pure and has no attachment to this world. So the angel will have the easiest time ever. He will tell the soul, and he will speak to it so gently, like just like you're talking like to a little baby, like, oh, come here, habibi, come, it's okay, right? This is how the angel will talk to your soul, like, come, it's okay. There's nothing to be scared about. Just gently, yalla, quietly, slowly. Mashallah, right? This is what the angel will do for someone, only for the person whose soul is not attached to this world. So you choose how you want to be. The advice of Prophet Muhammad, be in this world like a stranger or like a traveler, like a wayfarer. And then Ibn Umar continues and he gives us advice and he says, don't live in the evening expecting to see the morning, and don't live in the morning expecting to see the evening. Meaning, live every minute in your life as if it is the last minute of your life. Because nobody knows when their time is next. Nobody. Not me, not you. And guess what? The angel of death does not discriminate in age. He's not come down and see, oh, miskeen, this is only like an 8, 9, 10-year-old, miskeen, haram, let me just come down a few years later. No. The angel of death will do what Allah Azza wa Jalla has commanded him to do. And if Allah Azza wa Jal commands him, take the soul of this 10-year-old, he shall take that soul of the 10-year-old. And guess what? It has happened before. And it has happened today, and it has happened yesterday, and it shall happen tomorrow, and it shall continue to happen. Nobody knows when they are next. You guys are sitting here right now. How do you know that you'll be here again next week? How do I know that I will have a next lecture next week? I can guarantee it. How do I even know that I'll be sleeping in my bed tonight? SubhanAllah. Just think about it here in the masjid. How many janazas over the past couple months or so did we pray over young people, not just old people? Yes, it's common. Okay, we see 80 years old, 90 years old. Okay, he was old. He had a sickness. He had cancer. He had this and that. And then you hear of a young boy, as old as you, perhaps even people who went to the same school as you. Guess what? They were living life the same way you are. They woke up the same way you did. They woke up and they're thinking to themselves, I'm going to do this and that today, and I'm going to do my homework, I'm going to eat lunch, I'm going to have a good time, and then I'm going to play some Fortnite, and I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to do that. And then guess what? The angel of death came and cut all of their dreams right then and there. And he did not wait for them to have a good time. So, how do you know that how do I know that I'm not next? How many people woke up and got out of their beds for another day at school, another day at work, and they left their homes and they never came back home? How many people went to bed at night and they set their alarms for the next morning, except they never woke up the next morning? How many people, they put on their clothing or their uniforms to go to work or to go to school or to go to the masjid or to go wherever, and the one who took their clothing off was the person who's about to wash their dead body? How many people left their homes and they left behind their mom cooking their food for dinner, or their wife and their spouse and whatever, except they never ever returned back home to taste that food? How do you know that you will not be next? How do you know that this salah that you just prayed, Salat al-Asr, is not the last salah that you will ever pray in your life? Nobody has any guarantee for in terms of life. And again, I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm not saying this to make you depressed. The reason we remind ourselves of these ahadith and we talk about death like it's normal, because it is normal. Okay? There's no reason to be scared of death. Death shall come to you whether you like it or not. Whether you are scared or whether you're not scared. Whether you dislike it or whether you like it. Death shall come to you. This hadith is not meant to scare you. This hadith is meant to make you prepared, to make you mindful that don't waste what you have. And this is the second part that Ibn Umar was advising. He said, look, Allah Azza wa Jal has granted you health. Don't wait until you're old and sick, or don't wait until you're sick in general for you to start to use your health to do something beneficial. You guys right now are all young. You guys are full of energy. MashaAllah, after Asr, we had a wrestling match in the back. After Isha, it turns into a marathon here in the masjid, and people and kids running all over the place left and right. You have a lot of energy in you, and alhamdulillah, that's a blessing that Allah Azza wa Jalla has given you. And as you grow into a teenager, 13, 15, 18, 20 years old, you're only going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. There is a reason that Allah Azza wa Jalla is giving you the strength. Use this strength for your own benefit. What do I mean by your own benefit? Use this strength in order to prepare for your akhirah. Use this young mind that you have. All of you, Allah Mubarak, you're so intelligent, you're so smart. You have that capability of picking something like this. And I'm not saying this just to like sweet talk to you guys just because you're young. No. I'm saying this seriously, scientifically proven. People who are younger, if I were to put a 13-year-old and I put a 30 years old next to him, the 13 years old will learn faster than the 30-year-old. This is scientifically proven. So you have the capability to learn things which are beneficial to the world. You can benefit humanity. You can benefit the ummah. You can learn the Quran. You can learn how to read the Quran. You can learn how to teach the Quran. So why is it that many of us choose to waste our time and to waste our health all the time? All we care about is, I want to have fun. I want to play games. I just want entertainment. I don't want to go this. I don't want to hear this. It's too boring. It's too this. It's too that. Yeah, I'll do Quran later. I want to play first video games. I'll do this later. I want to watch a movie first. Subhanallah. You are wasting the blessings that Allah Azza wa Jalla has given you. And a day will come when you will no longer have the same kind of strength, and you will look back at your life and you're like, what the heck did I do with my life? What did I waste my life doing? Is this what my life was? Just a joke? Is this what I lived? I just lived a life of gaming and running around and having fun and entertainment. Was that all my life was all about? What did you achieve in your life? And subhanallah, I've been going back and forth in the hospital over the past few days. I was visiting someone who was sick. And subhanallah, like in the hospital, you get to see this. You get to see someone who was, again, living just like you and me. And now he is unable to breathe by himself. He needs machines and certain tubes to help him breathe. Their hearts are unable to beat by themselves. They need tubes and wires and this and this and that to help them beat their hearts. There are some people who are paralyzed, unable to walk anymore, unable to use their hands anymore, unable to speak anymore. And they have to rely on wheelchairs or hearing aids or sign language or this and that. And you're like, subhanAllah, how much are we drowning in blessings right now? You're able to see, you're able to talk, you're able to walk, you're able to laugh, you're able to think, you're able to learn. You have so many blessings that Allah Azza wa Jalla has gifted you with. So why do we constantly choose to waste these blessings in things which are useless? And this is what Prophet Muhammad tells us in a different hadith. There are two blessings, particularly two blessings out of all the blessings that you have, which are severely, severely underestimated. And these are your health and your free time. Right now, you're at a time in your life where you have a lot of health and a lot of free time. Don't take that for granted, because one day shall come where you shall not have free time and you shall not have health. And at that point in time, subhanAllah, a person does not realize the blessing that he was in until he loses it. We typically feel this, right? Like, right now, when you start having a fever and you start having headaches and a sore throat and your voice is all croaky and your mind is all foggy, you start thinking back to the days when, I miss the days when I'm able to speak properly and my throat doesn't hurt and I can swallow and eat proper food without feeling any pain or without throwing up and without feeling like a headache. I just want to go outside, right? You start thinking back to these days. Well, that's exactly what's going to happen. One day, these blessings that we are all currently blessed with, slowly but surely, they shall be taken over time. And so use these blessings before it is too late. This body that you have right now, many people live thinking that this body is theirs. This body is nothing more than a rental property. You know the rental equipment that you go and rent for skiing and snowboarding and all of these different things, right? Rental equipment. Your body is nothing but rental equipment. You're going to use it for a little bit, a few hours, a few days here and there, and you're going to return it back to its owner. So make sure you are ready, that when this equipment is returned back to its owner, that you are ready to answer for yourself to what you did with this body. And Allah Azza wa Jalla shall take back what is His. And that is your body. Don't think that body is yours. Allah shall take it back one day. And Allah shall question you, what did you use this body for? What did you do with it? Did you use it to waste your life? Did you use it to harm people? Did you use it to just go and chase after money, money, money? Everything is money. Everything is entertainment and fun. Or did you actually do something useful with it? And again, you're a human being, so you get the choice. And Allah Azza wa Jalla shall not interfere with your choice. You better be making the right choice. Because the warnings, as you see in this hadith, they are all there. And as I mentioned, I'll mention it again. The angel of death shall not wait for you. Okay? The angel of death will not give you 5 more minutes to be ready. Okay? The angel of death is not going to wait for you to just go quickly make up that prayer that you missed, or to quickly pray your prayer, or to quickly do tawbah and istighfar. No. The time has come, khalas. And Allah Azza wa Jalla shall question the disbelievers on the day of judgment. He shall ask them. One of the questions is very interesting. He will ask them, it's mentioned in the Quran, how long did you spend on this earth? You would think that they would answer and say 60 years, 70 years, 80 years. I died, I was 93 years old. They will say, I only lived maybe for one day. Or maybe only for part of a day. Why? Why did he say this? Because in comparison, life is so short compared to the time that you will spend underneath the ground in your grave, and compared to the day of judgment. You're going to look back at your life and like, what is this? You're going to spend perhaps thousands of years in the grave. What's 50 years compared to 1,000 years? Or the day of judgment, which can be up to 50,000 years, depending on how a person was during their life. So what is now 50, 60 years? It's nothing. So the disbeliever will think back and he's trying to remember, how long did I live? It's like basically, oh, only a couple hours in my life, and then khalas, it was all over. So, how do you want to live your life? You get to choose that. Our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ advises us, and he says, make sure to live your life as a stranger or as a traveler, because that's in fact what you are in this life. So, anyways, I do have to move on. There are a few things I still have to cover. The next week's hadith is a short hadith, inshallah. I will share it in the group chat as usual. But before that, are there any questions about anything? Yes? So as I mentioned, yes. So like for example, Prophet Muhammad SAW, he had spouses, he had several wives, he had companions, he had best friends, and he had all of these things. So this hadith is not telling you don't get to know them. Okay, this doesn't mean this is not what it means when it says to be a stranger. But don't get attached to them is what I am saying, or at least live with this mindset that one day you're gonna lose them, because that's what's gonna happen. Because if you live with a spouse or even with like mom and dad. And you love mom and dad, everybody loves mom and dad so much, and they're so attached to them and they love them, they're the ones who raised us. But if they live their life with the understanding that mom and dad is everything, they're my entire world, well, what's going to happen to you now when mom and dad pass away? And again, I don't mean to sound depressing here or to make you depressed. But again, what's going to happen to this person? The same thing with the spouse. To the spouse, someone loves his wife so much, they say, "Oh, honey, I love you to the moon and back." Allah barik. Okay. Well, how much? What's going to happen when his wife passes away? Alas, his life ended right there. What's going to happen? So this is the problem. This is now where the problem comes. You love them, yes, okay. You have certain people that you cherish, that you like, that you want to be close with, okay. But your heart is attached to Allah Azza wa Jal and only to Allah Azza wa Jal, such that when you lose someone whom you love so much, you understand and you say, "Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un." You say that every one of us belongs to Allah Azza wa Jal. They return back to Allah. Inshallah, I will, maybe perhaps, a few more years, 10, 20, 50 years, I don't know how long, and I shall be with them again soon. But you're not like, oh my God, how am I going to live my life right now? What's going to happen to me? Do you understand the difference? Okay, questions? No questions? Okay, let's quickly go through these questions. What does the word malaika mean in Arabic? Yes, yeah, Adam. Messengers, messengers, carriers of messages, right? This is what malaika means. We mentioned it comes from the word aluka, or the verb alaka, which means to deliver a message. What does it mean to believe in the angels? Yes. Jazakumullah khairan. So you believe in the existence of the angels, in all of the angels, whether you know them or you don't, the attributes of the angels, even though we've never ever seen an angel, and also in all of their deeds and their actions. Give three names of angels that we do know their names, and give me what they are tasked with. Yes, Ayub. Uh huh. Okay.
Another one is
Jahannam. Okay. Very good. So there's a whole bunch of them, and I'll just copy paste the same list basically. It's Jibril, Mikael, Israfil, Munkar and Nakir, Malik, Radwan. So all of these are different angels, and you can revisit the slides inshallah if you want to know their tasks. Why is it important to believe in the angels? What's the most important reason why do you need to believe in angels? Girls, none of you guys know? Someone else. I want someone else to answer. I want someone else to participate. True, there's only one person in the girls. Huh? Why do you need to believe in the angels? Yes, Yazim. It's one of the pillars of Iman. Okay. In order for a person to say that I am a believer, they need to believe in the angels. Okay. So a person's faith is not complete unless they believe in the until they believe in the angels. And also we mentioned some of the benefits. It helps you remain steadfast, being grateful to Allah Azza wa Jalla. So all of these are different benefits of believing in the angels. What does it mean when the Prophet Muhammad SAW says to be like a stranger or like a wayfarer? Girls, again, I want to see some more participation. What is this? You're sleeping or what? Yes? Exactly. So don't be attached to people or don't be attached to like materialistic wealth, right? Or like, properties and houses and places and things like this. What does it mean when the hadith says in the evening, don't expect to see the morning, and the morning, don't expect to see the evening? Yes, Muhammad.
Like if we're living right now, we shouldn't expect to like
Exactly. So live every minute in your life as if this is the last minute of your life. Be prepared to meet Allah Azza wa Jalla at any time because nobody can guarantee their life. What does it mean when the hadith says, take something when in health to serve you in the time of illness and something in your life to serve you in your death? Yes? Exactly. Jazakumullah khairan. So you have been blessed with so many, many, many blessings. So use that before those blessings get taken away, whether they are your health, there is a free time, money, whatever it is. All of these blessings are temporary, and one day they shall return back to Allah Azza wa Jal. Based on the hadith, why shouldn't we be tempted when we see like rich billionaires and celebrities and people on Snapchat and TikTok and Instagram traveling the world and beaches and beautiful places? Why shouldn't you be tempted when you see these kinds of things? Is it safe? Exactly. Nothing lasts in this world. And the same rich people who were living 500 years ago, they lost everything as well. And they ended up under the ground as well. And they are forgotten. Nobody even knows their name anymore. And everything that they worked so hard in their life to work for, all of this money, all of these cars, all of these houses, all of them left behind. The only thing that a person shall take with them in their grave is only their deeds, whether that is the good deeds or the bad deeds. So we'll continue, inshallah, with the fiqh. Actually, today we're going to do a little bit something different than usual for the fiqh unit, since we covered a lot of things in the salah so far. So we covered, for example, the salah and the shurut, the conditions of prayer, the arkan and the wajibat and the sunnahs of salah. And so, therefore, today I'm not going to move on yet. You guys are going to teach me how to pray. So today you can pretend I am like a new convert or like someone who has never learned this stuff before. Maybe I'm a little kid now, and I am coming to you guys to help me find out what do I need, what conditions do I need to meet, how do I pray my salah, and identify what is obligatory and what is a sunnah and what is all of these things. So who will start it off? So, hi guys, my name is Umar. I am here to teach. I'm looking for someone here to teach me how to pray. I am a student now. So, someone started off. What do I need to do? Yes, ya Shafi, what do I need to do? Well, okay, Bismillah. Huh? Shall I go to the washroom or what? I'll give you guys a hint. Conditions of salah. What do I need to fulfill before I can go on to pray? You guys need to tell me. Huh? Yes, Muhammad, what I need to fulfill. Give me one thing. Huh? Okay, so you need to ask me, are you a Muslim? Am I a Muslim? Ah, yes, alhamdulillah, I am a Muslim. Okay. Am I conscious? Alhamdulillah, I am conscious and everything is good. Okay, someone else now. Someone else. Huh? I want to see some more participation. Come on, guys. Come on. You can review your notes if you want. You can cheat. It's okay. What else do I need to do before I can start my prayer? Yes, Muhammad. I need to be in a state of tahara, right? So, so someone ideally would come now and teach me how to do tahara, teach me how to do wudu, check if I have a major or minor impurity. Do I need to do ghusl? Do I need to do wudu? All of these things, I need to be in a state of tahara. Okay. What else do I need? Shafi, yes? No, 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 no. خلاص خلاص. Yes, Muhammad, again. Have I reached the age of purity? Absolutely, yes, I have. Okay, so it's obligatory. So, okay, that's another condition. I have to reach the age of puberty, and I have reached, alhamdulillah, the age of puberty. Yes. Someone else? Yes, Muhammad? No, no, other Muhammad. Okay, so you need to teach me. Good. So, to have an intention, is the intention said out loud or is it something inside? Internal. Okay? So you don't say out loud, oh, I am about to pray Asr prayer, I'm about to pray Maghrib prayer. Okay? I just simply know inside that I'm about to pray this kind of prayer. Okay. So intention. What else? Girls, nobody wants to teach me? Yes? Very good. Did the time of prayer enter? So I need to look at the screen probably upstairs and I see, okay, it's Asr time right now, so I can pray Asr. Okay. What else? What other conditions do I need to meet? Okay, we'll rotate back to Muhammad. Yes. Be facing the direction of the Qibla. Very good. So, and we mentioned, we broke it down before. How do I do it if you're traveling or non traveling, if it's a sunnah or if it's an obligation, right? But ideally, right now, as I'm standing here in the masjid, I can very easily stand up and face the Qibla and I can do my prayer normally. So, okay, facing the Qibla. What else? Other Muhammad. No, 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 not yet, not yet. You're jumping the gun. What else? Yes, back to you. I need to make sure, very good. So I'll turn the mic back again. I need to make sure that I am covering my awrah, right? And we mentioned for the men, I need to be covering between the belly button and the knees. And for the women, I need to be covering, you need to be covering everything except for your face. And the hands and the feet depend on your situation, basically. Are there men or no nearby men? If there are nearby men, you should also try to cover your hands and your feet as well. And as for the men as well, you should also be covering over the shoulder. So it's not just, don't just like wear pants without a shirt. If you have a shirt to wear, you should be wearing that shirt and you should be covering your shoulder as part of covering the awrah for the salah. Okay, what else is there? I think there's only like one or two more that we didn't. Yes? Very good. There must be no impurities, no najasa, no filthy substances on my body or on my clothing or on my place of prayer. So these are all the conditions of salah. These are all the things that I need to fulfill before I can actually go and start my prayer. So if you're trying to teach anyone to start how to pray, you need to start to tell them what conditions do you need to check. There's a checklist. You need to check all of these things before you can actually begin your salah and before you actually say Allahu Akbar. Okay, so we'll just pretend right now that I have fulfilled all of these conditions. So I'm just gonna go right now. I'm gonna grab my prayer mat over here. I brought a prayer mat especially for this. Okay, I'm gonna put it down, and and I'm gonna pray, inshallah. Or I guess you guys need to teach me how to pray. Okay, I'll just put this over here for now. I don't know what's the place to put this. I'll just put this here in the middle. And for now, we'll just the qibla, by the way, is over there. But I'm just gonna pretend the qibla is here for now, just for the sake of the demonstration. Okay, so I'm gonna put this clean prayer mat down that doesn't have any najasa on it. Okay, so we'll just pretend for now that this is the qibla. Okay, sorry, I'm actually gonna put the camera as well on this so that anybody watching the recording knows what exactly I am trying to do over here. 1 second, let me fix this guy. Okay, there we go. Okay, good enough. Okay, so so I am ready to begin my prayer, and we'll pretend we're upstairs in the carpeted area. So I take my shoes off. I put them on the shelf like a decent human being, not like some people who just throw their shoes around, right? I am definitely not looking at the boys over here, right? So, anyways, I'm a decent human being, and I put my shoes neatly on the side. Okay. So, do I need to use a mic? Actually, yeah, I'll bring the mic because I'll take the mic and put it down here just in case. Okay. So I did all of these things. I have tahara. I made my wudu. I made my intention. The time has entered. Alhamdulillah, I've reached the age of puberty. I am a healthy mind. Covered the awrah, alhamdulillah, wearing a thawb. Everything is good. Everything is good. So, what do I do? Yes? Okay, so I start with takbiratul ihram, right? Which is Allahu Akbar, saying Allahu Akbar, okay? So now of course I would not be looking at you guys. I'm just doing this for the demonstration, okay? Obviously I would be like, khalas, boys, please stop moving, okay? I would be like now, just in a state of focusing. I'm trying, I have my intention inside. I'm trying to focus. And so I say Allahu Akbar. But do you notice something that I didn't do? Huh? Yes? What did I not do? Okay, so I'm standing right now, alhamdulillah. I have the ability to stand up, so I am standing up, alhamdulillah. And I said Allahu Akbar, but is there something better that I could do? Yes. Raising my hands. Raising my hands when I say Allahu Akbar. Do I have to, or is this a sunnah? Sunnah. So saying Allahu Akbar to enter the state of salah, to enter the state of ihram in the salah, this is a pillar. I have to do it. Otherwise, your prayer has not even started if you don't say Allahu Akbar. Then I raise my hand and I say Allahu Akbar so I can do the sunnah. Where do I put my hands now? Yes, Mr. Muhammad. Okay, and what do I do with my hands? So I put them here. Okay, like do I put them like this? Put them like this, like this, like this. What do I do? Huh? Someone teach me. Yes. On my wrist here. So I put my right hand on my wrist and I put it on my chest area. Okay. Is this a fard? Do I have to do this? What is it? It's a sunnah. Jazakumullah khair. So it's a sunnah. Okay. So I am standing now. So I said Allahu Akbar, raise my hand, and I put my hands down like this. Okay. So what now? Yes, again. You sure you're not missing something? Yes? You're missing something. Yes. There is a dua. Jazakallah khair. There is a dua that I can say as soon as I begin my prayer. Before I recite Surah Al-Fatiha, after I say Allahu Akbar. So I say Allahu Akbar, and then Subhanallah, I have this dua somehow memorized even though I'm a new Muslim. So you say سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك تبارك اسمك وتعالى جدك ولا إله غيرك. So memorize this dua if you don't have it memorized. There's of course alternate versions of this dua that you can go ahead and memorize as well if you have that other ones memorized. But this is the easiest one that you can memorize. It's the shortest and the easiest one that you can memorize. And of course you say it quietly, of course. So now, what do I do? Yes? Is there something I'm missing? Huh? Yes, you're saying something? Jazakumullah khair. It is, I should say, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Do I have to, or is it a sunnah? Sunnah. Okay? And again, I said loudly or quietly? Quietly. So I say the dua quietly. I say أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم quietly. What do I then say? Okay, which includes saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. But do I say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim quietly or loudly? Quietly. Even if it's a loud prayer. Like let's say right now I'm praying Maghrib and I'm supposed to be reciting out loud. Okay? Do I recite Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim quietly or loudly? Quietly. Okay? Quietly. The Basmala should be done quietly. Now what do I say after I said A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajeem, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim? Yes? Behind Shafi, yes, you? Yes, you, Yahi. There's nobody behind you, brother. Yes. Recite Surah Al-Fatiha. Jazakum Allahu khair. Surah Al-Fatiha, is it a rukn or is it a wajib? Is it a sunnah? What is it? Huh? I heard all the answers. I don't know. Pillar? Who says pillar? Who says wajib? Who says sunnah? Alhamdulillah, nobody said sunnah. It's a rukn. You have to do it. If you forgot to do Surah Al-Fatiha, your salah is not valid unless you go back and do Surah Al-Fatiha. Okay? So it's a rukn, I have to. And you should say it correctly as well. Okay? So recite Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin. And this is of course where you go and take some Quran classes so you can learn how to recite Surah Al-Fatiha correctly. Because even changing letters of Surah Al-Fatiha, you are now changing the meaning of Surah Al-Fatiha. And a lot of scholars will say your salah is not valid. So it's a big, big deal. You need to make sure that you are reciting it correctly without changing any of the meanings. And how do you change the meanings? Usually by changing letters and shortening a med and extending something that is not a med, right? So be careful when you are reciting Surah Al-Fatiha that you are doing it correctly. And of course, is it sunnah or is it obligation or is it rukn? What is it in terms of reciting silently or loudly? Yes? Sunnah. Sunnah. So if I happen to be if I'm praying Maghrib prayer right now, it's a sunnah for me to recite loudly, and I should be reciting loudly. But let's say I forgot. Do I need to do anything? No, nothing at all. Okay? And of course, for the women, just to be clear again, you do not recite out loud if there are men nearby. You only do the sunnah if you are alone and there's no nearby stranger men. Okay? Understand? So, I finished reciting Surah Al-Fatiha and I said, وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. What now? Saying Ameen without doing this choir that you guys just did. Okay? Saying Ameen. That's it. Ameen. وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. Ameen. Okay? It's not a choir, okay? SubhanAllah, every time like I go and lead the prayer here, and I say وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ, mashallah, all the men, they want to like become a choir all of a sudden. They all say Ameen. And then there's the kid in the corner who thinks he's being funny, like Ameen. When after everybody's finished doing his Ameen. What are you doing? You're messing in the salah right now. What is the sunnah to do here? So the sunnah, of course, I just give it away. Ameen, saying Ameen is a sunnah. Okay. When should I say Ameen if I'm praying in a jama'ah? When the imam says Ameen, I say Ameen. You don't wait. If you're waiting for the imam to finish just because you want to be cheeky and funny, you already missed on the reward of saying Ameen. What is the reward of saying Ameen? Who can remind me? Yeah? Your sins get forgiven. Your minor sins get forgiven. So you are wasting this chance for your sins to be forgiven just because, oh, I want to be funny. I want people to laugh and want to make this guy next to me laugh after the salah. Like, what are you doing, man? And even some people start laughing in the salah. And we're going to mention that breaks your salah, by the way. You laugh in the salah, that breaks your salah. Some scholars even tell you it breaks your wudu, go make wudu again. So it's a big, big deal. Be careful not to be laughing in the salah. Okay? Anyways, so let's say you said Ameen normally like a normal individual. So I'm still standing, my wrists over here. What now? I finished reciting Surah Al-Fatiha and I said Ameen. Yes, in the back. Yes, you. Eva, yes. I recite something else. Do I have to? It's a sunnah. It's a sunnah. Meaning if I leave it, do I need to do anything? Is my salah valid? My salah is valid. No need for me to do anything. Okay? By the way, I just remembered, as I am praying right now I'm like looking at you guys. Ideally, where should I be looking? I don't know if I covered this or not. Muhammad, yes, where should I be looking? Forward like this. Downward, forward, up, left, right. What is this? Yes, Ayub. I should look at the place where I'm doing sujood, where I would do sujood, okay? So for those of you boys who are mashallah in the salah, you say Allahu Akbar, and then you look at the guy in here, and then up here, and then you look at the screen, and then you turn back and you look at the guy behind you. You're most likely breaking your salah. Most likely your salah is not accepted when you are doing these kind of things. So you need to be careful about yourself. You're supposed to be focusing. You're supposed to be, even if there's like a little baby who's running around and making mashallah marathon during the salah, you're not looking at this baby. Okay, I am looking down in my state of sujood. Okay, even if I have the urge to laugh or to smile or whatever, I fight this urge, because realize once you start laughing, your salah is broken. Your salah is invalid. You need to restart your prayer again. Okay, it's a big deal. Okay, so anyways, we'll take questions later, inshallah. So let's continue. So I just recited, my favorite surah in the entire world, just like you guys. إِنَّا أَعْطَيْنَاكَ الْكَوْثَرَ فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ إِنَّ شَانِئَكَ هُوَ الْأَبْتَرُ. Okay, what now? I picked your, yes, Adam. Just like this, immediately. Okay, I say Allahu Akbar. Okay, so I say Allahu Akbar. Okay, one thing at a time. We say Allahu Akbar. Is saying Allahu Akbar a rukn, wajib, or sunnah? Who says sunnah? Who says rukn? Either raising or not. Who says wajib? The wajib. Jazakumullah khair. So I should say Allahu Akbar. Okay. What else should I do here? Yes. I should raise my hands like this. Okay. I don't do this. Okay. That's not how I raise my hands. Okay. I don't do like this. I don't think anybody does this, but just in case, I need to demonstrate. Okay. You don't do this. Okay. Just raise your hands like this. Shoulder level. You see how I'm raising my hands? Okay. Just like this. Allahu Akbar. And then as I'm saying Allahu Akbar, I am going down for ruku'. Okay, so I went down for ruku'. And what am I supposed to do here? How am I supposed to put my hands and arms and whatnot? Yes, Muhammad. So my palms should be on the knees, and my elbows, are they sticking? No. Sticking out like this. They're not touching my sides, okay? Okay, is ruku' a rukn, wajib, or sunnah? Raise your hand if it's a rukn. Raise your hand if it's a wajib. Raise your hand if it's a sunnah. Seriously? Rukn. Rukn. And again, just to quickly recap. When I say rukn, it means you have to do it. And even if you accidentally forget it, your salah is not valid until you go back and do it again. Wajib, it means I have to do it. If I purposely leave it, my salah is not valid. If I accidentally leave it, I can make it up later by doing the two sujood at the end. Sunnah, it means whether I do it or not. If I do it, I get rewarded. If not, my salah is valid, but I'm not following the sunnah. Make sense? Okay. So ruku' is a rukun. Okay. So I went down and we mentioned put my hands on my kneecaps, and my fingers are spread out like this, and my elbows are not on my sides, and I am looking, and my head is straight as well. My back is straight. I'm looking at my place of sujood. What should I do here as well? A very common mistake, by the way. I don't know, tell if you raise your hand or not. Yes, Muhammad.
Yeah, do like
Take your time with what? With the movement? So you're saying I can do this, Allahu Akbar. That's what you're saying. No, that's not correct. What do I need to do? Yes, Muhammad. No, you're missing something more important than that even. Yes. I have to pause in my ruku'. I have to pause. This is very, very important. Pausing in the ruku'. Is it a rukn, wajib or sunnah? Who says it's a rukn? Who says it's a wajib? Who says it's a sunnah? Pausing in the ruku' is a rukn. You must do it. You must do it. And if you don't pause, you did not do ruku'. Because the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ told the man who was learning how to pray, he tells you, you go down for ruku' and you pause. So you pause like this. You stay like this for like a little bit. Give yourself a couple of seconds, ya akhi. Some of us, we pray in such a hurry, we're like, and then you go down, your salah is not valid. Right then and there, your salah got invalidated. Okay? Because this is not how you pray your salah. And if Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was there, just like he told the man, he told him, you did not pray, go repeat your prayer again. That's what he would tell you. So be careful. Sometimes, yes, you're in a rush. You want to catch the bus. You want to catch this. You want to do this. You want to play a video game, whatever. Okay? You still have to take your time if you want your prayer to be accepted and you don't want to redo it. So I go down for ruku' and I pause here. Okay. Now what I say, Muhammad? Subhana Rabbi al-Azim. Is saying Subhana Rabbi al-Azim rukn, wajib or sunnah? Who says rukn? Who says wajib? Who says sunnah? Okay. Wajib. But what's the wajib here? How many times? Once. Once. Jazakumullah khair. Once, not 3 times. The wajib, I have to say it once. But if I decide to say it 3 times, what is this? Sunnah. Okay? So if I want to say it 3 times, I want to say it 10 times. One time Prophet he said 10 times. So you can even say it 10 times if you want to get extra deeds. Okay? So I can say, and of course we're just going to stick to the normal sunnah that we do, the 3 rak'ahs. So I'm saying Allahu Akbar. I'm pausing. I'm looking at the floor. Good posture. Subhana Rabbi al-Azim. Subhana Rabbi al-Azim. Subhana Rabbi al-Azim. Okay, I'm done. What now? Huh? Yes? So I'm right now, I'm in ruku'. Right now I'm still here. What do I do? So stand back up, but what do I say? You're saying the wrong phrase. Yes? No. سمع الله لمن حمده. سمع الله لمن حمده. When do I say this? When do I say سمع الله لمن حمده? Do I say it here? Do I say it here? Middle. Between, as when I'm starting my movement, I should say it here. So like I'm doing this right now. سبحان ربي العظيم. سبحان ربي العظيم. سبحان ربي العظيم. سمع الله لمن حمده. Okay. Is saying سمع الله لمن حمده rukn, wajib, sunnah? Who says rukn? Says wajib. Allah, I can't tell if you guys are guessing or if you know, if you don't know, mashallah. Who says sunnah? سمع الله لمن حمده is a wajib. Wajib. Okay? This is why you need to review this content, by the way. You need to know this stuff so that you make sure that you're praying correctly. So what should I say after I stand up now? So I said, Sami Allahu liman hamidah, and I'm standing up. What should I do here, right now? Yes? Rabbana wa lakal hamd. Or Rabbana lakal hamd. Okay? Is that rukn, wajib, sunnah? Rukn, wajib, sunnah? Wajib. 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 You have to say it. And of course, if I'm praying in jama'ah, what's the difference here? Yes? Okay. Do I say Sami Allahu liman hamida when the Imam says Sami Allahu liman hamida? No. I just say Rabbana lakal hamd. That's it. The Imam already said Sami Allahu liman hamida. I don't need to say it again. If I'm praying by myself, I have to say it. Make sense? Okay? And by the way, just to clear it up, when the Imam says Allahu Akbar, I should still say Allahu Akbar. Okay? Only the first Sami Allahu liman hamida, the Imam says it, I don't need to say it. I just say Rabbana wa lakal hamd. What else do I need to do? I'm still standing up. I just stood up. I said Sami Allahu liman hamida, and I'm saying Rabbana wa lakal hamd. What else? Yes, Muhammad. So that's the extension, of course. Yeah. So like you can either say Rabbana wa lakal hamd. There's the extended version, Rabbana wa lakal hamdu hamdan tayyiban mubarakan fih. There's the extra extended one as well, which I'm not going to say right now. But you guys are missing something still. Yes. What am I missing? What can I do here? I just stood up from ruku'. What can I do here? Hint, it has to do with my hands. Yes? Raise my hands. Raise my hands. So I would say, سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا ولك الحمد. Okay? I'm raising my hands. ربنا ولك الحمد. Okay? You can go home. تفضل, go home if you want. If you're stuck for time. Okay? We have no issue staying here, inshallah. Anyways, huh? طيب, go home. خلاص, no problem. Not enough time for you. Go home. Anyways, don't waste my time. What was I saying? You made me forget what I was in my salah. So I said, ربنا ولك الحمد. So what do I do now? So I raised my hand. So I said, ربنا ولك الحمد. Okay. So what do I say? Okay, pausing. Very good. So I paused. I stood back up and I paused. Now what? Okay. What do I do? Is there anything else I can do? Hint again, it has to do with my hands. I can go raise my hands again. Okay. Allahu Akbar. Okay. Raise my hands again. And I say Allahu Akbar. When do I say it? While I am going down. I don't wait till I am at sujood and then I say Allahu Akbar. I don't say it before as I'm standing. As I'm moving, I say Allahu Akbar. Okay. So I'm about to go down to sujood and I say, and by the way, when you are standing after saying Sami Allahu liman hamidah, someone was asking me, do you put your hands here or do you put my hands here? Some scholars say you can do this, some scholars say you can do that, but just put them down. I mean, this is personally what I do, for example. I just put them down, nobody's going to give you any problems. Okay? Just like this. رَبَّنَا وَلَكَ الْحَمْدُ. And so, Allahu Akbar. So notice how I go down to sujood. My hands first. My hands first. And I put my hands where I want to go for sujood. Okay? Then I put my knees down. And I'll turn my mic on now because I'm about to go to sujood. Okay? My arms are not like here. Okay? My arms are spread out. Okay? And I do this. Allahu Akbar. Make sure that my nose is touching the floor. The forehead is touching the floor. My elbows are up. My knees are touching, obviously. And my toes are curled like this. Or my toes are touching the floor at least. Some people complain like, oh, I can't curl my toes. Okay. Your toes need to be touching the floor either way. Okay? So I say Allahu Akbar. Like this. Okay? So I am in sujood right now. What do I do? What is this mic, ya akhi? Yes, in the back. Yes. Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. How many times? Once is what? Sunnah or wajib? Wajib. 3 times is sunnah. Okay. So I get down and I say Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. Now what? Huh? Okay, Allahu Akbar. And when do I say it? While I'm getting up from sujood and before sitting down. So Allahu Akbar, like this. Okay. And notice how I am sitting, by the way. Okay. My hands are right here on my thighs. They're not here. They're not here. Okay. Or they are here, but they're not like here. Okay. Some people like they just do this. Okay. My hands are like this. I'm still looking at my place of sujood, and I'll rotate backwards for this one. So we'll pretend that the qibla just changed. Subhanallah, mid salah, right? My toes, how am I doing? I'm doing like this. So notice my right foot, I popped it up. Okay. I know for some of us you might not be used to this, but practice it, and inshallah it will not hurt your foot. Inshallah. So I'm sitting on my left foot. Notice I'm sitting on my left foot. My right foot is just up here, popped up like this. This is how I am sitting in the middle of the 2 sajda. Okay? And who can remind me, what is this called? What is this position called? Huh? Iftirash. Iftirash. Right? I'm sitting right now in between the 2 sujood and I'm doing iftirash like this. Okay? What do I say here? Yes, Adam? How many times? 2 times. Rabbi ghfirli, Rabbi ghfirli. Is it rukun, wajib, sunnah? واجب. جزاك الله خير. واجب. رب اغفر لي رب اغفر لي is واجب. Now what do? So pause. I said رب اغفر لي رب اغفر لي and I say Allahu Akbar. Once again, same position. I put my hands here and my toes are now curled back again. And I am going back to sujood again. Subhana Rabbi al-Ala, Subhana Rabbi al-Ala, Subhana Rabbi al-Ala. Now what? So I say again, Allahu Akbar. Now, of course, here you guys, it's well known. If it's my first rak'ah and I'm praying like 2 or 3 or 4 rak'ahs, I need to get back up again. And I repeat this whole process again. Let's say it's not the, it's now, I'm about to, I just finished my second rak'ah. And I just finished my second sujood and I said, Allahu Akbar. What do? And I said, so I said, Allahu Akbar. And I sit down like this. Do I sit with tawarruk or iftirash? Iftirash, like this. I'm sitting on my left foot. Okay, I'm sitting on my left, again, the same thing I did. I'm sitting on my left foot and I'm propping up my right foot like this. This is for the first tashahhud. Now here's the question. First tashahhud, rukn, wajib, sunnah. Who says rukn? Who says wajib? Who says sunnah? Wajib. Meaning again, you don't, you have to do it, it's obligatory. But what happens if I accidentally forget it? Make the sujood al-sahw before the salam. And I continue my prayer normally, okay? Some people freak out. What do? I just forgot that I did tashahhud. So I'll just demo it very quickly, okay? So let's say I said Allahu Akbar. I was supposed to sit down and I stood up like this for the third rak'ah. And then after I stood up, I'm like, oh no, I was supposed to sit down. I just remembered. Do I sit down? No, I do not sit down. What do? I continue the salah as normal, and then before the taslim, I do 2 sujood. Make sense? Because it's a wajib. However, if I was in the tashahhud, the first tashahhud, and if I was getting off from the sujood, and I didn't sit for tashahhud, and I was about to get up, okay? And as I get up, notice I'm not standing straight. I'm like, oh, I just remembered. What do? I can go down. Go back again and sit for the tashahhud. Do I need to do sujood al-sahw? I do not need to do the 2 sujood. You guys understand this? This is clear. I explained it in a lot of details in the past. Okay? So, right now I am sitting in my tashahhud. What do I do? You say the tashahhud. So I say, At-tahiyyatu lillah, was-salawatu wat-tayyibat, Assalamu alayka. Either you can say Assalamu alayka, you say Assalamu ala nabi, whatever. So there's different, again, versions. Personally, I say Assalamu ala nabi wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi as-salihin. And by the way, there's a sunnah here. What am I supposed to be doing? My finger. So remember, the sunnah, this is the sunnah. I'm just going to speed up a little bit because of the time. So I'm putting my thumb, I'm connecting it with my middle finger like this, okay? And I'm putting it down here. And I am raising it the entire time. From the second I sat down for tashahhud, I raise my finger up like this and I start saying, and where am I looking? At my finger. That's the sunnah, okay? And then this is where I start saying, At-tahiyyatu lillahi wa salawatu wa tayyibat, till the very end. So I said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. What do I do now? Let's say I'm praying Maghrib. Okay? So I say Allahu Akbar and I go back up. Is there any sunnah here that I can do? Raise my hands. So getting back up after the first tashahhud is a sunnah. There's a sunnah where I can raise my hands. Okay? So there's 4 places I can raise my hands. Make sense? You guys are with me, following so far? Okay. And so I continue the rest of my rak'ah. Normally I'm not going to repeat it again. Okay? So you recite Surah Al-Fatiha, and of course if you're praying an obligatory prayer, 3rd or 4th rak'ah, you only recite Surah Al-Fatiha silently. Okay? These are silent rak'at. If you accidentally add another surah, it's okay. Don't freak out. Your salah is still valid. Okay? No problem. You don't need to do sujood al-sahw or anything like that. And so you continue let's say, once again, I'm just going to fast forward because I already showed everything else. So I went down for ruku', I went down for sujood, and I am about to get back up from my sujood for the final tashahhud because Maghrib prayer. So what do I do now? So I said Allahu Akbar, so I was in sujood, and I said Allahu Akbar, and I sat down like this. What's the sunnah way to sit down? At-tawarruk. Okay, at-tawarruk. So this is the one that people were like, what kind of monstrosity is this kind of position? It's very, very easy. Okay, so again, I'll just rotate backwards just so that you guys can see. For the first tashahhud, I showed you how to sit. You put the left, I'm sitting on my left side and I am propping my right foot up. For tawarruk, it's very similar to this, but you see this foot, I want to tuck it underneath this guy, like here. And I sit leaning a little bit. And obviously, you're going to be a little bit leaning, that's fine. And you are sitting like this. This is the position of tawarruk. Okay, you understand? Make sense?
Yes.
Cool? Okay, so this is how I am sitting for the final tashahhud. And again, if you're not used to doing tawarruk, this might look weird to you at the first time or like feel uncomfortable. It's fine. You'll trust me, you'll get used to it like, in a few days. So this is, I'm sitting for tawarruk like this. My right foot is propped up and I just tucked my left foot underneath my right foot like this. Okay, so I am now in my final tashahhud. Is the final tashahhud rukn, wajib, sunnah? Who says rukn? Who says wajib? Who says sunnah? How are you going to finish your salah if you don't do the tashahhud? It's a rukn. You have to do it. You cannot skip a tashahhud. Okay? The final tashahhud. And it's important you understand the difference between the first tashahhud and the final tashahhud. Now, it's possible that the first tashahhud is the final tashahhud. You understand that, right? Because, for example, Fajr prayer, you only have one tashahhud. So your first tashahhud is the final tashahhud. You understand? Make sense? Cool. So I say the same thing again. I raise my hand, my finger, sorry, again. And notice I'm putting my palms over here, okay, like this. I'm putting my hand on my palms. I'm not putting it here. I'm not doing this or here. I'm putting my palm here on my knee, right here. And I have my finger raised up like this. And again, I mentioned for some of us, maybe some of your parents, you might find them moving their fingers like this. This is fine if they move it like this. This is not fine. Okay? Some people, they go like this, and like you're like, what's going on with your hand, Yahi? You have fingers going crazy. What's going on? So if you want to move the finger, you can move it like this. Okay? Very slight movement. Like this. Okay? Personally, I just choose to keep it up the whole time, and I just look at my finger, and same thing, I say التحيات لله والصلوات والطيبات السلام على النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. This is the tashahhud. This is the definition of tashahhud. What am I missing? Sending salah and salam upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Is this rukn, wajib, sunnah? Who says rukn? Who says wajib? Who says sunnah? Wajib. Oh, sorry. Rukn. You need to do it. You need to send salah and salam upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in your final tashahhud. Okay? How do I send it? I say, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim wa barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim fil alameen innaka hamidun majid. This is how do you send salah and salam upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And again, there's alternate versions. Some people say, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad كما صليت على إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. And then you say اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. Whatever ones you do, these are all fine, okay? Just do one of them is the point here. So I just finish my Salat Ibrahim. I said في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. What now? So I can now, this is a special time for me. I finished my Salah Ibrahimiyya, and and I did not do my taslim yet. This is a time where my dua is accepted. So I should use this time, okay, to make dua. Oh Allah, grant me good health. Oh Allah, grant me $1 million. Oh Allah, make me pass my exam. Oh Allah, please, I want to win a game in Fortnite. Whatever you want to make dua to. Okay, خلاص, whatever you make dua to. This is where you make dua to Allah Azza wa Jal, to whatever you want to do. Now, final thing. What do I do? How do I conclude my salah? Yes, Shafi? Taslim. So, how do I do this taslim? Yes? Okay. Be specific. Yani give me the full details. So I say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah and then? Okay, so where? Where do I look and where do I look? Where do I look first? Where do I look first, right or left? Right. And then left. Okay. Saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Rukn, wajib or sunnah? Who says rukn? Who says wajib? Who says sunnah? I see some people raising their hands for all three. Allahumma barik. Huh? So very good. Okay, so now we're being more specific. That saying the taslim is a rukn. Saying it, like if I'm saying like this and I said Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, this is the rukn. What's the sunnah here now? I am looking at my right and I say, so moving the head is a sunnah. And saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And also, as you also mentioned, the second taslim is also a sunnah. So technically, if I do this and I say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, my salah is valid. And I've exited the salah. And I said it only once. I can also say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And then just get up. Also valid. But it's not following the sunnah. What is the sunnah? The sunnah is the way that you guys are used to. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And again, salam, you don't just say Assalamu alaikum, like some people do. No, move all of your face, okay? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'm looking at my shoulders. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'm looking at my shoulder. Some people, you will find them doing this, like Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and then they pause here, and then do Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is not found anywhere in the Quran and the Sunnah, so you should not do it. Okay? Just move. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Okay? So, this is the long, boring summary of the salah. But this is the correct way to pray your salah, with all of its rukns and all of its wajibat and all of its sunnahs. If you do this kind of salah, this is like the best kind of salah that you can have. Like you can't the only way to improve your salah at this point is just to add more adhkar, more du'as, read longer surahs and things like this. But in terms of actually the actual salah itself, there is nothing more that you can do in your salah. Now I know some of us might have some questions of, we're 5:15, subhanAllah. Okay, some of us I know might have some questions in terms of like, oh, what do I do if I forget, or if I make a mistake, or what if I make a mistake in a rukn, or if I'm not sure. We will cover these inshallah all when we in the future classes inshallah. But I just wanted to quickly make sure that everybody's got the conditions and the wajibat and the the conditions and the wajibat. Oh, I need to fix the camera too. I will try to finish this. Oh, it's good. No, it's not good. Okay, there we go. Okay, are you guys good to keep going? By the way, just finish the seerah and you're on our way, or because it is. I know it is 5:15. I see some parents in the back as well, and I don't know. I took way longer than I thought I would, to be honest. But I'm hoping this is at least of some benefit to some of us. Keep going. Yes. Speed run. Okay. So inshallah we'll try to cover the seerah quickly, bi'idhnillah. So we last week in the seerah we talked about Abu Ayyub al-Ansari, and the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was going to stay in the house of Abu Ayyub al-Ansari. So he stayed there basically until the Masjid al-Nabawi continued, was finished building. During his stay with Abu Ayyub al-Ansari, there were some incidents that took place. So first of all, Abu Ayyub's house was actually a pretty big house. It had like 2 floors. So Abu Ayyub was like telling him that, no, why don't you stay down? Why don't you go upstairs? Since you are the Rasul, we don't want our feet to be above you. Okay, like he had so much respect for him. But the Prophet ﷺ told him, no, it's easier for me to stay downstairs. And if you, Abu Ayyub, go upstairs, why? Because I have a lot of people coming to visit me. Okay, he's like the Prophet now. He is the Prophet, and a lot of people in Medina are getting to know him and asking questions and this and that. So they were visiting him so it's easier for him to go downstairs rather than him going upstairs and downstairs. Especially that Abu Ayyub has his wife as well. So he moves. Prophet Muhammad moves downstairs, whereas Abu Ayyub al-Ansari goes upstairs. And there were several incidents that took place as well. One time, Abu Ayyub accidentally knocked over like a you could say like a cup of water or a container of water, and the floors back in the day were not like as solid as the floors here, so they were panicking in the middle of the night, and they were like making sure that they were wiping all the water just to make sure that nothing drips on the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ during his sleep. Another incident one time happened where Abu Ayyub al-Ansari and his wife, they would used to make the food for Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And so whenever they would send out they would bring him the platter of food. They would wait till he finishes eating, then they would take his platter of food and they would eat the leftovers. Why? Because of course he's the Prophet ﷺ. So they're getting the barakah. So they would look for the places where he put his hands to eat, and they would actually like eat from that position just so that they can get the barakah of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Except one time, Abu Ayyub al-Ansari brought him the food, and the food came back exactly the way that he brought it. Not a single bite was eaten. And so Abu Ayyub panicked. He was like, what's wrong? Do you not like the food? Is there something that you don't like? Did I do anything to you? And he said, everything's okay, but I talk to those whom you don't talk to. And this food has garlic in it. Meaning, he's saying, I talk to the angels. Jibreel comes down, there's angels around me, and the angels are harmed by the smell of garlic. In another narration, it's like garlic/onions. Okay? So this is, now does this mean that garlic or onions are haram? They're not haram. You can eat them, you can enjoy them, but don't come to the masjid if you have a smell of garlic or onions in your mouth. Okay? So especially now, okay, this is one of the top most annoying things that people encounter during Taraweeh in Ramadan, is that mashallah you pray next to someone and you smell their entire meal next to them. Okay? You know exactly what kind of biryani they ate and their entire recipe and the shawarma that they had, you smell it all. And he's like 2 meters away from you. Subhanallah. So just be careful, okay? I know the month of Ramadan is coming. You want to eat some iftar, you want to have some nice food. Make sure you use some mouthwash, you brush your teeth, you eat some mints. Change the odor of your mouth before you come to